Ladies and gentlemen, what just happened in New York has flipped the entire lawfare narrative on its head. A $500 million fine, gone, erased. A penalty Letitia James bragged about all over the news, all over TV, used as her political trophy, has just been thrown in the trash by the appeals court. Yes, guys, New York appeals courts have thrown Letitia James' fine in the trash. Now, let me tell you guys, she didn't take it very well, okay? Reports are pouring in that Letitia James absolutely lost her temper when the ruling came down. Imagine building your entire crusade against Donald J. Trump only to watch it collapse in one ruling. But here's the real question, guys. Was this ever really about justice, or was it always about destroying Trump? But was this case about protecting New Yorkers, or was it about silencing the man who is now once again president of the United States? Well, guys, that's the judgment that you have to make for yourself. So let me know in the comments down below, was she really protecting New Yorkers, or was she just trying to attack Donald J. Trump for her own personal vendettas? Well, guys, it gets even deeper than that, because when Letitia James was fuming in court, Kash Patel was on fire. Guys, Kash Patel, he's pulling back the curtain on something way bigger, okay? The Biden-era DOJ and the FBI's weaponization against Trump, dating all the way back to Russiagate, and even the unconstitutional Mar-a-Lago raid going through Melania Trump's panty drawer. Unreal. Kash Patel is now exposing how that entire machine was built to crush Trump, and more importantly, why under Trump's leadership today, it's finally getting ripped apart. So guys, in the next couple minutes, we're going to talk about why this $500 million case isn't just a win for Trump. This is the smoking gun of lawfare backfiring in Letitia James' face. How Letitia James' meltdown literally proves that her case was never about justice. I mean, why else would she just lose her temper like that, right? And Kash Patel's revelations, they're showing that the FBI and the DOJ, they were in on it from day one. Now, this isn't just about a recent courtroom victory for Trump. This is about exposing the war that has been waged on President Trump and why it's about to implode. If you appreciate the news updates, please take a second, hit the like button for the video. That's all I care about. Matter of fact, you ain't even got to subscribe if you don't want to. But if you do, I appreciate that too. Anyway, so mark the date, guys. August 21st, 2025, because history is unfolding right before our eyes. Now, you got two crises here, okay? Collided this week that expose exactly what's at stake for America. Now, on the one hand, you got Donald J. Trump, now back in the White House, just scored a massive courtroom victory when New York appeals court erased $500 million in penalties. Technically, it was like $454 million. Then it went to like $464 million, and it ended up ballooning all the way up to like $527 million with all the fines and interest and penalties, because this thing was being litigated. It was being, basically his legal team was challenging this. And so basically this was a penalty that was so egregiously big. It was clearly not about justice. It was about annihilation. They were trying to bankrupt Trump on some BS charges, trying to keep it PG, guys. So on the other hand, Kash Patel, he is blowing the lid off the Biden-era DOJ and the FBI's weaponization, a campaign of lawfare that was never about the rule of law. It was always about taking down one man, and that man today is President Trump. So in the middle of all of this, front and center, is Letitia James. I mean, she walked in the court smirking, confident that this fine would end Trump financially. But when the ruling came down, that smirk turned into rage. The reports say she absolutely lost her temper. The court didn't push back. It slammed her case as an excessive fine that violated the 8th Amendment. Think about it, guys. Let that sink in. Even the judges admitted that this wasn't punishment. This was persecution. And these are New York judges, by the way. New York, okay? Blue state. So here's a question. It's a question you got to ask yourself, folks. Was this ever really about fraud? I mean, Letitia James said it was. Oh, Big James, Big Letitia, Big Tish. Or was it really about crushing Trump financially, silencing him politically, and sending a message to every American who dares to fight the system? Well, Trump never flinched. He wasn't even scared. He walked up in that court like, "What's up? What's up, James?" Anyway, James fumed. He stood calm. I mean, he was composed. He, as my grandfather used to say, he was cool as a cucumber. That was basically the difference between a leader driven by, ego, and a leader driven by purpose. So, folks, we're only scratching the surface here because even though President Trump just wiped away that $500 million hit, the court didn't let him walk away completely free. There are a few restrictions still in place, still some tools of control lingering on the case, and we need to talk about that. And that's where the story actually gets even darker. Now, imagine this, right? You've gone to the same doctor for like 20 years, and then one day you find out your Medicare plan quietly dropped your doctor from your network. Now you're forced to start over. Does that even sound fair to you? Can I see a show of hands? Has this happened to anybody? This is why so many people are partnering with Chapter. They make sure that your doctors and your specialists stay covered. Our viewers that are, leaving us so many comments, so much praise for Chapter is absolutely amazing. I really appreciate you guys keeping me posted on how good things are going. Our viewers are saying the same thing over and over and over. I wish I had called sooner. People like Sharon Bertusik, she knows firsthand what it feels like to lose coverage and then finally get peace of mind. I absolutely love it. So ask yourself this: am I willing to risk losing my doctor because I didn't check? Think about it. Am I willing to risk losing my doctor because I didn't check? Anyway, most people are not. They're not willing to risk that. And so this is why they're already calling Chapter at the phone number down below at your screen, 909-563-8279, or they're visiting on the web at askchapter.org/Ron. So now let's be clear, guys. Trump he may have won the biggest fight. I mean, let's be honest, guys. The war isn't over though, okay? Because even after erasing this it's $464 million, it's more like $527 million fine, the court left in place injunctions designed to keep Trump and his family shackled. It's unreal what they're doing here. So Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump banned from running a company in New York for years. The Trump Organization forced to operate under the watchful eye of an outside monitor, reporting back on every move for the next 3 years. So here's the situation. If these judges admitted that the penalty was unconstitutional, then please, somebody in the audience tell me, why are they keeping these restrictions in place on Trump's sons? You know what I'm saying? Like, does that even sound fair? Is this really justice that's being balanced? Or is this just another way to keep the Trump family under even more control, even after their so-called victory? Like, what's up with that? And so, of course, this brings us back to Letitia James, Big Tish. She branded this case as exposing staggering fraud. Now, keep in mind, she's the same lady right now who is she herself under investigation for mortgage fraud, by the way. Oh, the hypocrisy here. She wanted the headline. She wanted the cameras. She wanted the image of Trump humiliated in court. She wanted to see President Trump in some orange jumpsuit in Rikers Island. That's what she wanted. But look at what actually happened here. The fine that made her famous is gone. Her legal argument was torn apart by appeals judges who said that the punishment did not fit the crime. So here's a dilemma for you guys who are watching the show right now, okay? Is Letitia James really a defender of New Yorkers, standing tall against corruption? Or is she the face of partisan lawfare, using her office not to protect citizens, but to just personally destroy Donald Trump at any cost? This is the judgment you have to wrestle with right now before this video ends. And trust me, guys, the evidence that's coming up, it really makes this question even harder to ignore, because as Trump wipes away these bogus penalties, Kash Patel, he's stepping up with a bombshell revelation about the DOJ and the FBI and how they were turned into political weapons under Biden and Obama, and how they're finally being ripped apart under Trump. And so this is really where the story blows wide open, because while Letitia James was melting down in New York, Kash Patel, he was laying it all out, chapter and verse, on how the Department of Justice and the FBI, they were clearly weaponized against Trump from the very beginning. And he didn't even mince words. He said the raid on Mar-a-Lago had no constitutional basis, none. There was no lawful predicate to invade the home of a former president, a first lady by the name of Melania Trump, going all through her unmentionables and panty drawers and their family. This wasn't law enforcement. This was political warfare, clearly. And Kash Patel reminded us, this ain't new. This started with Russiagate, a hoax fueled by none other than Hillary Clinton's campaign and given legs by Barack Obama. They pumped out the Steele dossier, corrupted the intelligence community, and used it as a tool to damage Trump before he even got into office. Patel is pulling the curtains back. He's exposing everything, guys. From how the FBI and the DOJ leadership turned those institutions into weapons, not for justice, but for politics. And so here's the kicker. Under President Trump's leadership today, those bad actors are being purged One by one, the people who abuse their power are being stripped from leadership and replaced with patriots who are restoring credibility to the system. So let me go ahead and put this in terms that really hit home, okay? If they can raid a president's home without cause, then what can they do to me and you? And so this is really where the lawfare strategy backfired in their faces, because instead of destroying Trump, it actually built him up. Even people who were not supporters began to look at what was happening and say, hey, hold on a second here, guys. If they can do this to Trump, they can do it to anybody. And that sympathy turned into support. And that support carried him right back into the White House. And so this is why President Trump is president today. It is the ultimate vindication. So here's where the situation stands, right? The very lawfare weapon designed to end Trump, it ended up making him stronger, exposing his enemies and proving that his fight is the people's fight. It's not just his. And so here's something that we just cannot ignore, guys. The court erased Trump's $500 million fine, but the real fight isn't just in the courtroom. It's the court of public opinion. President Trump, he called it exactly what it was, a total victory. He said that the court had the courage to strike down an unlawful, disgraceful ruling that was crushing businesses across New York. And he's right, because if they can weaponize fines against him, what's stopping them from weaponizing fines against small business owners, homeowners, or anybody else that they want to silence? Meanwhile, Letitia James, she tried to spin her defeat as some kind of a victory. Now think about that, guys. She loses her crown jewel, the fine that made her famous. Nobody even knew who Letitia James was before she came after Trump. You see how she tried to leverage his name so she could make something out of herself? So she loses the crown jewel, the fine that made her famous. Then she pretends like nothing happened. Why? Because she isn't just fighting for justice. She's fighting for her own personal political survival. That kind of really raises the next question here. Is she still chasing fraud, or is she just chasing Trump? Now, this is exactly why Kash Patel's revelations are so important, because this isn't just about Letitia James. This is clearly about a culture of corruption that infected the DOJ and the FBI for years. Patel, he's exposing how deep this goes: illegal investigations, political targeting, even attempts to erase documents that didn't fit their narrative. But here's the big difference now, guys. Under President Trump's leadership, the mission has shifted back to real justice. The DOJ and the FBI, they're being rebuilt to focus on what matters: violent crime, terrorism, drug trafficking, and rooting out public corruption. So Kash Patel, he pointed to some recent takedowns of some corrupt politicians, some dirty cops across the country, as proof that the swamp is finally being drained where it matters the most. So the contrast is clear. Under Biden and Obama, politicized justice, weaponized lawfare. But under Trump today, patriotic justice, restoring the rule of law, and protecting Americans. And yet, question remains, will the American people buy James' spin, or will they see the truth? Because this isn't just about one courtroom battle. This is about whether the system is working for you or it's being twisted by politicians for themselves. So here we are, guys. After months of courtroom drama, political theater, and media spin, the truth is impossible to ignore. A New York appeals court just erased Trump's $500 million fine, calling it what it was: excessive, unconstitutional, and just completely outright wrong. And Letitia James, she lost her temper because her entire crusade, the one she promised would end Trump, just collapsed in front of her eyes. And at the same time, guys, Kash Patel is showing us that this wasn't an isolated case. This was part of a much bigger pattern, a weaponization of America's justice system. From Russiagate to Mar-a-Lago, the same corrupt playbook was used over and over again, trying to destroy one man. And yet, instead of being destroyed, Donald J. Trump stands today as the president of the United States, stronger than ever. Now, folks, it comes down to you. Is Letitia James truly a defender of New Yorkers, bravely fighting fraud? Or is she the face of partisan lawfare, abusing her office to settle political scores with people she just don't like that much? Well, was this about protecting the people? Or was it about silencing the president before he could, win the presidency back in 2024? This is the line in the sand, guys. And I want to hear from you guys right now. Hero or villain? Justice or witch hunt? Drop your comments in the drop your judgment in the comments down below, guys, because the American people deserve to be heard louder than any courtroom gavel. All right. Oh, and before you go, let me leave you with this. YouTube thinks it knows exactly what video you're going to want to watch next. And I got to say, I think they're right. It's popping up right here on your screen. And if you thought that this breakdown was explosive, wait until you hear what's in the next one. All right, guys, don't miss it. Click it right now and let's keep this fight going. Hey, by the way, guys, if you're one of the real ones who really enjoy what we do here on the channel, you've got to check out the Inner Circle. This is where our true supporters get exclusive access to content that I just can't share here, completely commercial free. It's also the best way to keep this channel going strong. So if you want to be a part of something special, join us over there. Links in the description or in the pinned comment down below.